فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear viewers, welcome to our program, Parents' Rights in Islam. We've been discussing the role of parents in the lives of their children, how they helped to raise us, how they helped us, how they gave us shelter, how they stayed with us in our hard times while we were growing up, and in our good times. And we talked about the reason or the verse that covers our being good to our parents, and then the reason that's been established by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and using the mother, and how the mother carries the child, and then weans him for 2 years as the beginning of the example of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to respect and give care to our parents. After the birth of a child comes another nurturing responsibility. فِسَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. His weaning is in 2 years. This is the commitment made by the mother to nurture, breastfeed, and guarantee the safe raising of her baby. The one who commits to this difficult undertaking, along with giving her love to the child, deserves to be treated with every known type of honor and goodness and care. فإن جاهداك أي اجتهد والداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما ولا تظن أن هذه داخل في إحسان إليهما لأن حق الله مقدم على حق كل أحد ولا تطع للمخلوق ولا تعي المخلوق في معصية خالق ولم يقل وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فعقهما بل قال ولا تطعهما أي بالشرك لا تطعهما بالشرك وأما برهما فيستمر عليه. Allah explains the limits of obedience to parents when He says وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما. When He says, the translation of which is, but if they both strive with you to make you join in worship with me others that of which you have no knowledge, then do not obey them. Do not assume that obeying your parents in sin and polytheism known as shirk, do not assume that obeying them in that is part of keeping your duty to them. If your father commands you to commit shirk, don't obey him. If he commands you to abandon the prayers, do not obey him. If he commands you to smoke cigarettes, do not obey him. Likewise, if he commands you to buy cigarettes, you are not to obey him in that. These are sinful acts. Refusing to obey your parents in this case is not considered disobedience or disrespectful. Rather, if you were to obey them in sin, that is disobedience. Upon you is to obey your parents in what is permissible and what is good, and in that which does not involve any sin. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, لا طاعة في المعصية إنما الطاعة في المعروف. There is no obedience for evil deeds. Obedience is required in what is good. Furthermore, and this is important, the beauty of the verse It calls for the child not to obey the parent in shirk, because Allah's rights supersede all others. However, it does not call for the child to be antagonistic and disrespectful. It calls for the child not to obey their parents if they order him to make shirk or clear sin, but it does not command him to be antagonistic toward parents. It does not command him to be disrespectful toward them. As for his goodness toward them, after the disobedience, it continues. His good manners toward them continues. Denial of the sin, respectfully decline, even declining is respectful, and then continue to be good to them, whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims. It does not call for the child to be antagonistic toward the parent. Rather, the child continues to be dutiful, continue to perform their duty toward the parent. ولهذا قال وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا أي صحبة الإحسان إليهما بالمعروف وأما إتباعهما وهما بحالة الكفر والمعاصي ولا تتبعهما. The child continues to be dutiful. For this reason, the Quran says, وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Behave with them in the world kindly, with excellent behavior, but do not follow them in the condition of unbelief and sin. This methodology, this way, this path was used by the Messenger of Allah, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, as he calls his father to the oneness of Allah. His words were, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أبتي بما تعبد ما لا تسمع ولا تبصر ولا يغني عنك شيئا. O my father, why do you worship that which hears not and sees not and cannot do anything for you, cannot avail you in anything? يا أبتي إني قد جاءني من العلم ما لم تأتيك فاتبعني أهديك صراطا سويا. O my father, verily there has come to me of knowledge that which came not to you. So follow me, I will guide you to a straight path. يا أبتي لا تعبد الشيطان إن الشيطان كان للرحمن عصيا. O my father, do not worship Shaitan, Satan. Verily, Shaitan has been a rebel against the most magnificent, Allah, Ar-Rahman. يا أبتي أخاف أن يمسك عذاب من الرحمن فتكون للشيطان وليا. O my father, verily, I fear lest a torment from the most beneficent Ar-Rahman, a torment from Ar-Rahman, Allah, overtake you, so that you become a companion of Shaitan in the hellfire. This is found in Surah Maryam, the 19th surah, from verse 42 to verse 45. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya, may Allah have mercy on him, said about these verses, Ibrahim alayhi salam begins his da'wah to his father by addressing him with his position as paternal parent and never by his first name. This is a sign of respect on the part of Ibrahim. Ibrahim doesn't cross the boundaries of his father's parenthood. He calls him Abati, my father, not by his first name. Then he presents his call to his father in the form of a question. يا أبتي لما تعبد ما لا تسمع ولا تبصر ولا تغني عنك شيئا. O my father, why do you worship that which hears not, sees not, and cannot avail you in anything? He presents this in the form of a question rather than commanding him by saying, don't do that, don't worship that. But rather, it's in the question. Ibrahim continues by saying, Ya abati, inni qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam ta'tika, fatab'ni, ahdika siratan sawiyya. O my father, verily there has come to me of knowledge that which has not come to you. So follow me, and I will guide you to a straight path. He speaks about receiving knowledge rather than saying to his father, you don't have any knowledge. In other words, you're ignorant. Rather, he abstains from using that kind of speech. He stays away from that kind of speech. His topic is clear. His father is a polytheist. His intention is clear. He wants to ask his father, he wants to call his father away from that. He wants to call his father to the worship of Allah as one Lord, Rabb al-Alameen. Instead, he says, knowledge has come to me. This expression is more lenient than calling someone ignorant. Afterwards, Ibrahim states, alayhi salatu wasalam, Ya abati inni akhafu an yamassaka adabun min al-Rahman fatakuna li shaytani waliya. O my father, verily I fear lest the torment from the most beneficent Allah overtake you, so that you become a companion of shaitan in the hellfire. A'adana Allahu min dhalik. In this verse, Ibrahim links the sense of fear to himself. He expresses compassion for his father, that he might be punished by Allah, just like someone has compassion and pity for a close relative. He uses the Arabic term yamassaka, which means to touch something, or someone which is somewhat, or something or someone which is softer expression than bluntly saying you will be punished. That Ibrahim mentions punishment in an indefinite phrasing. Doesn't say what the punishment is. He says adabun, and then he says punishment would come to you, or could come to you from Ar-Rahman, the most beneficent, rather than use one of Allah's other names like Al-Qahar or Jabbar. There is no kinder or more lenient, softer approach than the one taken by Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam with his father, using the best and most decent language is the most appropriate way to speak to people in general, not cursing them. However, it is more important and appropriate to speak with individuals who have rights over you or possess a prominent position of honor or leadership. The beauty of Islam. If a person's addressing someone who has a natural position over him, he addresses him with respect, opposes his belief, but addresses him with respect, opposes what he thinks is important about what to worship, but addresses him with respect and maintains honor with him so that he will listen. Because what's being approached by people, when people say they want to change the hearts of people. It's the heart of the people that people want to reach out to. They're trying to change the heart. They want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open their heart. So Allah commands the best from people, and so people deliver their best. They don't deliver their worst and then expect a response other than the worst response. Allah puts the rights that are due to parents along with the rights that are due to Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says in His great book, the Quran, the following: وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عَنكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَّهُمَا فَلَا تَقُل لَّهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُل لَّهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ وَقُل رَّبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. And your Lord has decreed that you worship none but Him, and that you be dutiful to your parents. If one of them or both of them become old in your lifetime, do not say to them a word of disrespect, nor shout at them, but address them in terms of honor. And lower unto them the wing of submission and humility through mercy, and say, my Lord, bestow on them your mercy as they did bring me up when I was small. Again, Shaykh Abdul Rahman al-Sa'di says in his tafsir, ذكر بعد حقه قيام بحق الوالدين فقال وبالوالدين إحسانا أي احسنوا إليهما بجميع وجوه الإحسان القول والفعل لأنهما سبب وجود العبد وأنهما من الصحبة للولد والإحسان إليه والقرب ما يقتضي تأكد الحق ووجوب البر. After commanding his right to be worshipped absolutely without partners, he mentions the rights of the parents and says, and be dutiful to your parents. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, we will continue this topic in our next episode. Be safe. By Allah's permission. I'm Talib Abdullah for the Sharjah Broadcast Authority. Thanks for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا